This podcast is about how to warm her up or how to get a person in that place. So what has happened within that relationship that has eventually said, I don't want to do this anymore? For the person who's being left behind on an island, we have non-consensual celibacy. We are not going to have an open relationship. You can't go off with somebody else. I don't want you to increase the porn you're already using. So accept what I've said. No. I hear women all the time say, I sacrificed myself, done all the chores, sorted all the schools out, I'm on the PTA, doing the yoga, I organise all the birthday cards. They are filling every single space up without thinking about the relationship.
What does sex mean for men? What does it mean to women? On our episode, when one person opts out of, and I won't use the word or try not to use it too often, that intimate act.
Yeah.
I asked, out of men and women, who opts out of that intimate act first in your experience? And you said it's women. So my question is, why do you think that is?
God, it's such a good question. And I guess I'm saying from the perspective of what I'm seeing in my therapy room, that women are coming to sessions and saying, I don't want to be part of that anymore. Predominantly women, but there are some men as well. And I think there's many reasons why. It can be mental load and overwhelm for the woman.
Mm-hmm.
It can be lack of appreciation and too much sacrifice. It can be the lover's gone somewhere else, example to the children. It also can be, I don't think it's necessary anymore because we've got our house, we've got our cars, we've got our business, we've got our careers, we've got our kids, we've got our dog, we've got our cat. Why are we still doing that?
It makes me wonder what it might have meant for a woman in the first place.
Well, I think there is an aspect of the limerence, the loved up stage, and then there's the power struggle. Are we choosing each other? And then we do choose each other, and then we go for the real deal. And I do think that sometimes the real deal is not established. The limerence gives you the impression that this is what it's going to be like.
Forever.
How amazing is that going to be? And actually it has to change because the limerence stage is obsession and possession, and we can't continue that. It's not negotiable, because it's too much, and that lasts from 3 months to 18 months. However, when we get to the real deal, we've got to actually have a communication about what does then that look like. And if we don't do that and we drift and we lose that bond, we don't connect, we're not communicating enough, then we start to think it's not important. And for me as a therapist, my contract is friendship, intimacy and sex. It is important. Don't take it off the table.
It's funny you should just say that taking it off the table. We did some research before this episode why women might go off sex in a relationship and some bullets on why men might go off the intimate act in a relationship.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one, that, isn't it?
It is.
The top one that sort of caught my attention when you said taking it off the table, women are more than twice likely as men to lack interest in that intimate act when living with a partner long term, which kind of validates that observation that you've got, that all the love goes to the kids. They might not need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And the limerence.
Yeah, but it's more than that, isn't it? The question that you're asking me is, why is it in a long-term relationship that the desire and the arousal changes? And when we first meet somebody and then that power struggle, we decide that we are going to stay with that person. Your life is filled with the vision. So deciding to be together, are you going to have children, buying a house, career prospects or opportunities, investing in the external family. There's so much going on, and within that space there isn't as much emotional connection. And when we get to a certain age, all of us, male, female, we get to a stage where we go, actually in this relationship I need to feel safe. I felt safe. It's not that I haven't been felt safe, but we've been so preoccupied with everything else and everyone else that now actually the kids are going to leave home, the parents are getting older, the jobs are decreasing, maybe we're retiring. It's just us. And what we want to think about is, what does that mean as a relationship? So the intimate act might be that we haven't done that for quite a long time. And actually the person that's opting out is saying, I don't feel safe enough and I don't feel bonded enough to continue.
Would they say that
this.
though? Because my hunch is they're not. No. They're just saying, I've decided the intimate act is off the table. Yeah,
there's no discussion. And this is what I've said to you before. You can talk about co-parenting, children's schools, what you're going to eat for dinner, what pictures are we going to watch, what Netflix we're going to, whatever it might be. But when this is taken off the table, it's like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm just telling you this is what's going to happen. So we have for the person who's being left behind on an island, we have non-consensual celibacy. They haven't chosen this. So they are sitting in that place of confusion. Why has this happened? Is it because I've done something wrong? And the other person is sitting in the place of I've made up my mind and we don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
Sounds uncomfortable.
It is uncomfortable because there is such an angst that goes with it, but it gets buried because there's no discussion. If you can have a conversation about every single thing that you've ever chosen together, that's partnership. You can't suddenly go, I'm not going to talk about this. Don't forget, the intimate act is the hardest thing that we get to talk about from childhood. How is it expressed to us? Are we allowed to talk about it?
So we inherit it into our next relationship.
We can do. Yeah. How easy will it be to talk about it? And it's not easy to talk about it.
It sounds like this happens over a course of time.
It does.
And my hunch is, tell me if I'm wrong, that men miss the signals and the process that might lead to this bombshell, I'm taking the intimate act off the table.
Yeah.
What are men missing in that period or leading up to that realisation or that devastating blow?
Yeah, I guess I don't want to answer what are they missing. What I want to answer first of all is when it's taken off the table, it's not really believed. There is hope. So understanding of why that reason might be an assumption, or they're told that, usually not. So they then think, okay, that can go on for a little while, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 months, 5 years. I've had people come in and say 20 years. They're living in hope. And I think we've got to actually really look at evidence-based. Instead of hope and hoping it will change or something. Once that person's taken it off the table, they feel a little bit more relief, like I don't have to worry about that anymore. The other person is still sitting in that confused place of why is it that I can't get what I need? So what have they missed along the way? That definitely cues, rejection, excuses, I'm too tired and this sort of thing. And I do want to caveat with obviously if there's a medical issue, that would be different.
It is.
But if we're doing, there's an excuse. If there's a reason for it, I get it. If there's an excuse for it every single time and you're rejected, then we need to really think about that. And this podcast is about how to warm her up or how to get a person in that place. So what has happened within that relationship that has eventually said, I don't want to do this anymore?
In our last episode, we talked about what does sex mean for men, and we covered that, link in the description. What does it mean to women?
So such a good question. I feel like it's the bit that I'm wondering whether this is my version or whether this is women's version, but I think it's such a sacred place to be able to, you go there. It's not something that's done to you. You go there with your partner. And it's something that it's almost like home. I'm going home so that I can feel safe and hugged and secure. And I always talk about the little nook, getting in the nook of the shoulder of the guy that you love and want to be there. So there is a safety aspect, and that's what's missing sometimes when women can take that off. Are they feeling safe enough? Because in a relationship, we have the 6 primal needs. So we have 4 primal needs and 2 spiritual. The first one is safety, for sure. The second one is spontaneity. If you don't feel safe, you can't be funny, flirty, playful.
I guess you're in a bit of a fight or flight mode all the time. You're just being hyper and super aware.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and we are talking about our nervous system. Our nervous system has decided to shut down, and we need to investigate that. I don't want to say that when women shut down, they're not shutting down for a reason. They are. But we need to get rid of the excuses and actually get to the core belief of the deep dive into what shut you down. Are you not getting the sex that you want anymore? Do you think that it doesn't need to be prioritised? Have you then thought that your love has gone somewhere else? Because the bond between 2 people is so important. How do we continue that?
How do you recover from it?
It is recovery. You're absolutely right. Repairing from this.
How does not having that intimate act for a woman affect her?
Loneliness, empty, disengaged. Don't forget they're choosing it though.
I know, and that's where my mind was going then. A man might struggle not having that intimate act, but this is a choice.
It's a choice, but women are very good at filling the space.
How do you mean?
I hear women all the time say, I've sacrificed myself, I've done all the chores, I've sorted all the schools out, I'm on the PTA, I'm doing the yoga, I organise all the birthday cards for everybody in the family. They are absolutely filling every single space up that they can possibly do without thinking about the relationship.
Almost like validating themselves externally through lots of busying. I know there's purpose to these things. We've all got aspirations and we're driving towards it, but it feels convenient.
There is a convenience to it, but why does it feel that the other person, the woman's got to be in control of all of that? My thing when women come in and they come in as a couple is, who asked you to do all that? Why have you taken that off? So if you've got, two families of origin and the wife is completely organising everything, why is that? I say, well, who asked you to do that? Why have you done that? And does it not get done if you don't do it? Where is your partner within that?
I heard something a little while ago. Men are macro, women are micro.
Right, okay.
That makes sense. The house needs to be spotless. The laundry has to be done a particular way.
Yeah.
I can't let him do it. He won't fold it right.
Yeah.
I'm stereotyping. Apologies.
No, I don't think you need to apologise. I think that's absolutely right. I see that in my therapy room. They say to me, the sink's not cleaned well enough, or the laundry then has got a pink sock in there, or whatever. I want it done properly. If it's their turn to do it, they need to do it in the way that they do it. If you choose that you don't want your laundry in with everybody else's laundry, then you need to do that yourself. If you're going to say you're going to separate the chores out, then you need to leave that person to do it in the way that they do. We're talking about here meta programs. Somebody will be abstract and somebody will be detailed.
Is that the philosophy of meta programming?
It is, yeah. We are different to each other. And when somebody says you need to do it exactly as I do, they won't be able to. Your criteria won't be their criteria. And that's where we start getting that angst. We're going off topic slightly because I want us to not go down the chore route. I want us to actually think of the mental load that somebody feels that they're holding, and actually the intimate act becomes...
It's difficult, isn't it?
becomes a chore. And that's not what it's about. If it becomes part of your everyday list that you're trying to tick off, then there's no bond.
We've got something wrong.
Yeah.
Not intentionally.
Yeah, yeah. And, rightly or wrongly, I see this, what do you want to happen to you in the intimate space that you can have? Do you want all that thrusting all of the time? Have you got a roll-on, roll-off relationship where that's what just happens? There's a little bit of foreplay and then it goes to the actual act. And then it's the orgasm and we're done. And then usually somebody gets up and said, I'll make the tea. Oxytocin is such a vital part of our health and wealth that we need to really think about staying with our partner after it, to be able to sit with it so that it goes right the way through our bodies for 14 days afterwards. If we haven't got that, sometimes we're spiking a lot. We're not happy. There's something missing within the relationship.
I can imagine to the point where it becomes that area of contempt that kicks in.
Absolutely.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I could imagine if you're not feeling safe, secure, desired, then I guess there's a sadness about it.
There is a sadness about it, yeah. But if we really dig a little deeper, you've chosen a monogamous relationship which encounters intimacy in all forms. But you've just said, I'm going to stop doing that now. You're not changing partners. You're not going anywhere else. You're not deciding to sell the house, and you're not saying, I want to change my whole life. You're just going, that part of us doesn't exist anymore. That can't be so.
And I guess for the partner that's just been delivered this news, it's the first time he's heard it.
Yeah.
But this has been planned, potentially rehearsed, and a lot of things, maybe neglect, workload, that has led up to that point.
Yeah.
So you've got two completely polarising experiences.
Yeah. And I'm okay with all of that. Women will say to me, it's my body, I'll do what I want. Absolutely. But could we have a conversation about it? Because everything else you've ever chosen has been something that you've shared together. You've talked about it. Having children, going on holiday, all the things I've said before. And this one, you go, I don't want to talk about it. I'm just taking it off the table. You can't do that. You've chosen a partnership. Be single. You've chosen a partnership. You've chosen monogamy. You've chosen each other. And then it's suddenly, I'm not doing this with you anymore, ever again. Can you imagine that disbelief going, I don't think that's really true.
Well, from a male's perspective, he's ever hopeful.
Yeah, of course.
Ever the optimist.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Designed.
So it's
biology, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you allow that to go on for as long as it goes on, and then there'd be a part of you going, actually, this might be something that's really going to be not part of my life anymore. That forced celibacy that I haven't chosen. But I try and talk about it, like, can we talk about it? No, it's not a discussion. I've made up my mind. Where's the partnership gone?
Was it there to begin with?
Ooh, that's interesting. Well, I always look at what the patterns are in other relationships. I've had situations where people stay with somebody for a long time, but their theme is that they stay with somebody for about 2 years in the relationship, and then they shut that down. It's not happened just in this relationship. It's happened before they get to a state.
Comfort.
I don't think it's that comfortable shutting it down. It is when
you... No, comfort and repeating the relationship style.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's a hard question to ask yourself. Is it me that might be the problem in this situation? I'm repeating my type of relationship. I'm repeating the type of people. I'm doing the same thing.
But that's not an awareness. When I say, is this something that's happened before in another relationship? How long were you together? You know, I see my couples individually, and I talk about what's your patterning, what's happened in other relationships. And it's interesting. They say, well, actually, I was with somebody for 2 years, and then this shut down again. I didn't feel that it was necessary. I didn't feel like I needed it. But without discussion, that's what broke that relationship. I get so many people saying to me, I feel so superficial that I'm going to end a relationship that's built an empire and got 2 children, and I'm going to walk away because I can't get my end, can't have an intimate relationship or get my end away.
You can say that.
Yeah, I can say that. Yeah, and they feel terrible. They feel shame. And you know, if you say to somebody, I'm leaving because I'm not getting that intimate connection, they feel terrible. But the other person is in their own mindset is going, but I'm allowed to say no.
And they're right. But the caveat...
There's no discussion, though.
No.
There's no if there's not something medical, why do you think it's okay to shut down on it? You're saying to somebody, you're going to be celibate now. You can't have an open relationship. You can't go off. We are not going to have an open relationship. You can't go off with somebody else. I don't want you to increase the porn you're already using because I think you're doing enough. So accept what I've said. No.
There is an element of controlling about that, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to... I'm cringing when I'm about to say this. I want it my way.
Yeah. And what is that about? Is the relationship been controlling in other ways? Has there been things intimately been shut down anyway? What's the theme? What's the pattern in this process? And also for me, it's about, are you noticing the hurt from the other side? When the female says, I'm shutting down, what are you recognising? Is there any empathy for the other side? If there was empathy, there'd be a conversation. I'm really struggling with our intimate process within our relationship. I'm struggling with actually finding desire or arousal for you. It's something we need to talk about or go and get some help with. That's not said. It's I'm not doing this with you anymore.
The work I do with some of the guys over the last few years, I've noticed a bit of a theme when they are in disbelief of their partner's inability to recognise their pain and hurt because of very similar things that we've just been discussing. And I've had a few chaps say their partners seem to be the empathic ones and they're deemed as not. But when we talk in more depth, it seems that the partners are more emotional, but the guys are actually empathic. They want what's best for their partner.
Yeah.
Is that a fair description, do you think? Or an observation?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I absolutely think so. And I think when the female partner shuts down on this, the male is trying to look for a place of reconcile for himself, absolutely. But actually, I want to be able to do whatever that she needs to do to make this come back online.
It breaks my heart when I see guys. I just want my family back. I just want the intimate. I just want to be appreciated. I just want to be touched. I just want, I don't want the sex. I just, even if it was just once a month, we just had a night to ourselves.
And I guess we're talking about, this is the title for this, Warm Her Up. If we've got that shut down, us talking about this, and I think this is quite a contentious
it is
podcast. It is, because there will be people out there going, how dare we say that we're not allowed to do what we want with our bodies? How dare you say, actually, as a woman, I've been through quite a lot with this partner. I've held them up. I've been the solid one. I've been the one that's had to carried everything. Absolutely hear all of that. But through that carrying everything, did you not have the conversations along the way? Probably not. That's why you're holding this stance so strongly. But monogamy, partnership, collaboration, togetherness, bonding, that is part of the contract, which is now being let go of. And probably, I always say 20 years, it's 10 years of discord. 10 years, it's 5 years of arguments and everything. That is how I measure it. What's been going on 5 years ago? What's been going on 10 years ago? These things don't happen within 2 years. There is a slow erosion already. I was
going to say decay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's noticed. We're not, from the age of 0 to 3, we know when we're not doing something that's an okay thing, or we know that. But it's being able to go, let me be accountable for the bit that I'm in, and let you be accountable for the bit you're in. So, I get that some people hearing this will go, I'm allowed to do what I want. You can have an opinion, you can have a way of being, but I want them to have a conversation about it.
There's also something about marriage, taking the responsibility for what marriage means. Not that you have to give yourself. You're not a slave to someone, vice versa.
Yeah.
But there is a bond and an agreement in that relationship of good communication, which seems to be a continuous trip hazard, or at least that's what I'm hearing.
Well, if we go down the marriage road, then lots of people will definitely be like, I like marriage and partnership. So even if you're not married, you've actually said to each other, let us choose each other.
It's a commitment, isn't it?
Yeah. You can do the ceremony if you want to, but either or, you've actually done that commitment with each other. And for me, it's about what is going on that you think to yourself that you can't, or choose not to, or find it difficult to talk about this subject.
I made a note, which I think is a good time to bring it up. There seems to be a polarizing aspect to couples. Men want sex to feel intimacy, and women need intimacy and security to have sex.
Yeah.
In a better quality conversation that you might have with your partner, a bit like the relationship MOTs that we've talked about in previous episodes, knowing that you have to have that dialogue, whether it's once a week, once a day, once a month, seems like an absolute critical element to your partnership agreement.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. It's missing. You're more. People say things like, we're housemates. You're absolutely not housemates. What you are is two people living together that knows there's an elephant in the room. Housemates are kinder. Housemates are more respectful.
That is so true. You hold friends in high regard. Yeah, you treat them accordingly.
Yeah, I want people to stop saying we're just housemates now and we're happy with that. You're not housemates.
So if women in general going off the intimate act sooner, before guys, what can women do for themselves to help in that situation? And there's a part 2 to that. You're also, I believe, seeing an increase of men tuning out of the intimate act as well.
Yeah.
So what can women do to help themselves if they're noticing that lack of drive and intimacy?
I get a lot of women coming to see me because they feel that they are lack of libido, disinterested, and actually want to find themselves again. So coming to a psychosexual therapist is really useful. We talk about erotic blueprints, we talk about sensate focus, we talk about pleasuring, we talk about what part of their identity do they feel that they've lost whilst being in the relationship. So who have I become while I'm in this relationship, and who have we become as a couple as well. So for me, there's an exploration individually. So the I before we. Who am I as an identity in a sensual way, and how can I invoke that back again? Being flirtatious, being sensual. What does that mean to you? I'm talking about not just the intimate side of females. I'm talking about the health side of females as well. So when you think about menopause, you think about things that happen to our body, and our genitals and everything. It's really, it's a muscle. Keep using that muscle. It's so important. So
I've got so many jokes going through my head now, and it's just not the right setting, so I'm going to stop.
It's so important to be able to use, use or lose, basically. But I want women to come into their own. I was talking to a woman yesterday, absolutely beautiful woman yesterday, and she said, I feel sometimes in this setting, I feel like a bit of a doormat. But I want to find me again that I can then share with my partner. And I said to her, I've got 2 elements of the doormat. You can either be on the red carpet or you can stay on the doormat. And she went, oh my God, I love that. I absolutely love that. I want to be on the red carpet. I said, but
you've just made it her choice.
I said, but who can put you on the red carpet? Only you can put you on the red carpet. And when you're on the red carpet, you then have boundaries. So if you feel like within the intimate act, you're not wanting it now, or there's no dialogue, or it's not how you want it, stay on the red carpet and put a boundary and go, this isn't happening now, but we can do this instead. Conversation is the key. Well, people don't talk when they think about having intimate moments because they think it's going to spoil it. Can you not touch me there? I'm not that keen on it. We don't want criticism within a act. What we want is a conversation before it.
We are saying again, self-awareness.
We are.
Being aware that you might be feeling like this. It is actually within your control.
Yeah.
Everyone's control.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing worse for women, actually. And we do feel like this. It's like we're being used. And you're talking about your partner using you. They're not using you. They're trying to get some gratification from somebody that they're in love with.
Both individual in that couple setting are not getting what they want, need, and they don't feel good after.
No, absolutely not. And I'm talking about, at the moment, we're talking about females, but actually men can feel the same as well. There's an emptiness afterwards. There's a loneliness afterwards. There's some tears afterwards as well. Because they know that actually the person didn't really want it.
I actually know that feeling.
Right.
I asked the question, if a lady feels like she's in that situation, she's noticed she's lost that libido. What can she do for herself? What if a chap is in that situation? What can he do but help her or help the relationship?
Okay, slow everything down. Don't put any pressure on. Give an opportunity for what I'm feeling when I can't be near you from his side, and her feeling of what I need to be able to come towards you is for me to feel safe. There's a lead up. Women need warmth to get there. Okay, we need an aspect of connection, desire, noticing, hearing me, see me.
Excitement,
yeah. A little bit of like, not sure what's going to happen, or maybe it feels like...
well, spontaneity is a big thing, right?
It is, it's huge, yeah. I want men not to keep doing the same thing. That's why I call it roll on, roll off sex. It's just not what women want. We want to have a little bit of navigation, think of something different.
The intimate act for guys is the end goal.
Right. Why?
Because it's amazing.
But I come from a tantra background. So
go on.
So I explained this to guys. I was talking to a guy yesterday, and I said to him, the seed that you hold is sacred. And that, so if we get over masturbation, or we get, we're having sex on a regular basis, what we want to do is hold that tension sometimes within a relationship.
Describe holding the tension, just so listeners, watchers get a bit of a feel for what the purpose of it.
The tension is to build up the anticipation. Desiring something is more erotic than having it. Building that up again and again and again. So over 3 days, and my clients sometimes look at me and they go, what do we do then when we get aroused? And I go, you let it go back to resolution. You don't do anything on the first night or the second night. And if you're really brave, go a third night. And then on the fourth night, then please go ahead. And the tension that you hold, because your body holds all of it, it will escalate. And what you're feeling will be much more of an ending than you've had before. So the Tantra way is holding it, is holding the energy more instead of keep giving it away. Men's masculinity, holding that seed, holding that energy. I see, and this is controversial as well, God and Goddess, Shakti and Shiva, surrendering to the God, and the God, giving, and the Shakti receiving. So it's, for me, there's a bit
of submissive there. Yeah.
Well, it's surrender. It's being able to surrender to both. And for me, this one way of thinking about the intimate act is so limiting. Being able to go home to your partner and say, don't touch me, but I'm going to do something to you now. And undoing that bout on the trousers. I've said this before. I've said this to my clients yesterday. Sometimes treat and don't expect anything back. We go to intimate act is somewhere to go, not something to do. Go there and be with that person.
We think about our audience and a key takeaway. Now, the last episode we did yab yum, the sitting in the nook of the lap and hugging and rehugging, cheek to cheek, rocking back and forwards. We'll put a link in the description. Love saying that now. You wanted to talk about a key aspect to take away today, and that's sensate focus. Can you explain what that is and how our audience can act on that themselves?
I use this a lot. When my clients come into me and they haven't had sex for a long time, this is the opportunity to start up that process. So Sensate Focus is from Masters and Johnson, so two very renowned relationship and lots of other things experts, and from 1961. And it's a phased program of 3 elements. So the first one is you cannot touch anything genital or anything that will be arousal.
Right, I said, I'm off.
Also, there's no intimate act at all for 4 weeks. So,
and we know what that actually means. No intercourse.
Not at all. Okay. So they're not having it anyway. And interestingly enough, when I say that, the women smile and the men go grumpy. They're not having it anyway. So it's almost like I've taken it away from them, and they weren't having it in the first place. So I said, this is going to be the start of a new way of being. So what I get them to do is, and the script is written, I send it to them. They can rewrite it a little bit, but they have to tell me how they do that. So if you haven't touched anybody for quite a long time, what we're trying to do is get you to think about their body from like the limerence stage. You're going to be exploring parts of their body, but none of it is on the intimacy level that you're used to. It's sensuality. which makes it so much difference. And the person who's touching their partner is the one that's going, what does this mean for me? What am I feeling from this partner? So when you're exploring the fingertips and through the arm, so your partner might say, oh, you can touch my arms and right across here. Obviously no breasts and down the other. That would be the first phase. They do it 30 minutes each, once a week. So by the time you see them, they've done it 8 times.
That's a lot of touching.
It's a lot of touching. So I can either see them in 2 weeks' time, which would be 4 times, or I can see them in a month's time.
What's the damage of them jumping into the sack, so to speak?
Well, they're not allowed.
But what if they did? Is it a case of we might need to just start that process again?
They'd have to start from the very beginning again. Yeah, because we're building up the tension. But I don't find that in the first phase that they do that. They're trying to work out how they do this. And the first time they do it is very awkward because they haven't touched each other for such a long time. It takes the pressure off. No one has any expectations of any intimacy whatsoever. Okay, touching skin is intimate. We're starting from the beginning. We're starting from basics. Then we go on to phase 2. So when they've done that for 4 weeks, we've gone on to phase 2, and then their genitals and other areas are then included. So that gives them the opportunity to start, but it's not touched in the way that they would normally touch. There's brief touching. So your hand just going over, so they know that there's an awareness of where their hand is. But then I explain to them about what areas are more. For instance, the clitoris area is not just that area. There's 8,000 nerve endings and it's 4.5 inches long. So you don't actually get to go to that straight to the area. You can go around the groin area and there will still be a sensation that happens.
I'm just making notes.
So there's a lot to it, but because I do it at 3 phases at a time and it's over 4 weeks, this is actually thinking about intimacy in a different way. Why do we do the same thing all the time? We need to change it because our arousal circuits flatline when we keep doing the same thing again and again and again. Then the 3rd stage is to say to them, there's an opportunity now to have intercourse.
As a bit of a sign-off, what might you say to a couple if this sensate focus to encourage that intimacy scared the living daylights out of them, or they just thought, absolutely, there's no way that I could even possibly do that? What would your advice be?
Whatever's stopping them going through that process is because there's still contempt, resentment, anger. There's something blocking going towards. So first of all, we need consent to touch. So if your partnership in the therapy room is going, I'm not consenting to being touched in a sensate focus way, then you can't do sensate focus. You've got to find out what the blocks are, why it's been turned off, what is it that's decided that you don't want this, but there's no dialogue about it.
Yeah.
So we can't go with sensate focus. If you can and you want to start that up, you can do it in conjunction with yourself and each other. What I love about sensate focus, which I will mention, is it's non-verbal. So you have a discussion about it in the very beginning. You set up how it's going to be set up. And I think we're going to put something along the lines of this to let people know what it is. But in conjunction with a therapist, they can keep you on track. Do phase 1 and see the therapist. Talk about it, what went right, what went not so okay, what did you like, what you didn't like. Then you do phase 2, then you do. So we're talking about 12 weeks of your time learning something new, learning something that's really intimate, that's really sensual. I absolutely adore it. I think it's amazing. And couples that are on it come back to me and they go, absolutely love this. I thought I was a great lover. I thought I was somebody that would... I didn't know anything. I didn't know that I could treat without being treated. I didn't know that actually I could explore without actually thinking that I have to complete the whole act.
Enjoying our partner's bodies, enjoy our partner's time.
Yeah, and didn't we, when we first met them? When that limerence stage, couldn't get enough of them, and you were exploring. You weren't just going to that end goal. You were exploring and wanted it to last for longer. It's making the time. We actually have. Everyone's got 24 hours. What are you doing with your 24 hours? You are wasting time.
Very true. Just thinking about what we're trying to achieve today, and this is the follow-on from give him that intimate act. I just thought of what we can share with our potential male audience. I made some notes before we recorded this episode, and when the intimate act stops, it's rarely about the intimate act itself. And I wrote some bullets down. Things that she might feel is, I don't feel safe, I can't find desire, I'm overwhelmed, I'm carrying too much, I've lost myself inside this relationship, I don't want to engage. Having that insight might make us think differently about how we engage with the dialogue and the relationship with our partners.
Yeah. And wouldn't that be fab if she said all that?
Yeah.
And I would want the partner to take one bit at a time. Say the first one again and let me see, what do you need from me? What do I need to be to you for you to let me back in?
And what he might hear is, I'm unwanted, I'm unattractive, feel confused, resentful, ashamed for waiting for the intimate act, and fearful of the future.
Yeah. So what I'm asking couples to do is I want her to step back in and I want him to step back in without punishment.
Ooh.
Because he's been denied something for quite a long time now, and he's got resentment, he's confused, he feels unattractive, he feels like...
Without shame.
Without shame, yeah, yeah. So they've both got to step in, but in different ways. I don't want the title to get women to think that, you know, that's what we are. You know, you need to warm us up and we'll be there. It's not as simple as that. It is. We talk about women need safety and men need appreciation. I think it goes the other way as well. I really do. I think these sort of like antidotal, this is this for men and this is it. I think it's all such a weave of complexity in a relationship.
And each relationship is individual.
Absolutely.
Each couple are individual.
Absolutely. But the crux of it is, you've got to talk about it. The communication is absolutely the key. And for me, when we say that, I add to that, and authenticity. Being the real you and saying, I can't do this with you anymore. There will be a reason why. We've got to find out why that's happened.
And I guess if you're trying that yourself and it's not working with your partner, conversations turn into arguments. That's when they can come to someone like yourself or another couples counsellor to unpick those problematic trip hazards which are preventing for you having a better quality dialogue.
Yeah, and I don't want couples to get to the stage where, and we're talking about the woman shutting down and the man goes off and has an affair and then he gets vilified for having the affair.
You're not saying cheating's okay, I get that.
Don't have an affair, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Let's find a space to be able to talk about this. But we cannot then go, you did this to me. Actually, the start of this was you did this to me.
Or you did that to him.
To him, yeah, absolutely.
A complex web we weave.
It is, yeah. But us opening this conversation, I'm really hoping that it actually opens up the conversation.
Well, maybe that's a good sign-off. There must be a myriad of thoughts and questions that our audience can leave in the comments. We can reply back with some hints, tips and ideas and answer some of those poignant questions. Thanks, Lottie.
Thanks, Elliot.
If this episode resonated with you, do feel free to like and subscribe. We've got a brand new subscriber count button clock thing going on here, so it'd be great to see that go up. We'll see you on the next episode. Is that better?
That's better, yeah. But thank you, sounded really